Okay, the title of this video is Breaking Your Contract with a Chinese School. Let's say you join up with a school, you sign a contract with them, you get a business visa or a tourist visa, you come over and you start working for a school, and then after about a month or two, you just fucking can't stand them, or they don't pay you on time, or the manager is a hyper micromanager and engages in slight emotional abuse, um, or they want you to work too many extra hours, something like that, and you want to leave, but you don't want to leave China. You've got 4 months left on your business visa, or you've got a 10-year visa if you're from the United States, and you're like, fuck, I don't want to take a plane ticket back. And maybe they provided a letter for you, or maybe they provided, an invitation and some business documents, and that formed the basis for you obtaining your visa. You may be thinking enough about the future to anticipate, well, what will happen if I want to leave? Okay, can I do it? And can they cancel my visa? Can they report me? What can they do? Well, the answer is they can't fucking do anything. Okay, they can't fucking do anything. But believe me, they will try. Many of them will try to do something, to bluff you in, to fake you out, to scare you, to intimidate you into believing that somehow they hold some leverage over you with regards to your visa. Okay. Most important thing is if you try to bring one thing, just as a precursor, a, a preface to all this, you don't want to indicate, you don't want to let on at the outset when you're starting the transaction that you may be you want to hash this out. Well, what if I want to go? Well, we need to put this in the contract, and then, or something. No, don't do that, because you're going to kind of queer the deal. You're going to fuck up the deal, right? In business transaction, there's an old saying called queering the deal, meaning that when you start asking too many questions, or if you are discussing your exit strategy, what if we have a conflict? We'll handle it this way or that way. It'll throw the business deal off, right? Although it makes good fucking sense, it's very prudent to do your planning on the front end. If you start doing it with the school, they're going, oh, fuck no, I don't want him. This is already a problem. I'll go find someone else. So don't do that. But you do need to be aware that, all right, look, you don't want to buy you, it used to be this. It used to be that people would get 1 year visas. Prior to 2014, whether it was American or whoever, well, I'll speak for Americans. Americans would always, along with everyone else, would need to get a 1 year visa, a 1 year business visa, and then they go teach at these schools, right? Even some of the good ones, right? And you'd normally pay people to go get one of those visas. The going rate used to be about 5,000 renminbi, 6,000 renminbi, about 1,000 US bucks for a year visa. Sometimes you could get them cheaper, sometimes 4,000, right? Okay, but that was what everybody used to do. And there was always these schools. What they do is they'd say, well, we got the business visa for you. You can only work for us. And they say, well, we have connections in the government. We'll cancel it. Okay, your time in China is over. Really, I fucking can't believe the shit they try. The agents even try that. Some of the agents are fucking really deceptive. Stay away from them. Okay. Now, um, so what can you do? Over and over, what people always do is this. I have so many friends who have done it. Um, Over and over, this is what you do. And I think you figure it out yourself. You wait until the day you're paid. And then on that day, after you've got your cash, you see in your bank account, it's been deposited, whatever. As soon as you've got it, then you go, oh, you call them up, say, that's it. And then you leave. Okay, and you will need to get your stuff out of your apartment. If they've provided your apartment, get your shit out of there in advance, ready to go. Because believe me, they'll do something like they'll try to close it off, or they'll lock it up, or they'll do something like that, right? They'll try to grab your shit as security. And believe in fucking don't ever. some of them even try to hold foreigners' passports for a certain period of time. It's fucking crazy the shit they do, the stuff that they talk people into agreeing to. You shouldn't do that. Um, and so the way you leave the uh, the way you break your contract with a Chinese school is you do that. You get everything ready, and then you go. That's that. Don't worry about courts and lawyers and crap like that. Fucking, that's a joke, man. I mean, really, nothing. None of that's gonna happen. From their perspective, they're never suing you in court. All right, they're never doing anything like that. Now, if you commit a crime at their school of some sort, they could report you to the police, and the police could apprehend you, and then there's going to be a negotiation about this or that. But this raises another question. I've seen some videos out there, etc. Um, I, as you may or may not know, I've worked in other contexts besides teaching, and some of those contexts uh, have been, you know, involved dealing with business people, Chinese business people, and even Chinese institutions. Um, and I'll tell you, you have more leverage than you think, provided that you really haven't done anything wrong. You really haven't done anything that bad. You haven't really committed a crime or something like that. Really, you have a lot more leverage than you think. But you need to not be intimidated. You need to not be afraid. You need to be, especially, this is especially the case if you're from America. Okay. They're really going to go out of your way to avoid spectacles, and they feel at least um, they feel some obligation to present the appearance of a real legal system, and that there's going to be equal treatment uh, of foreign nationals, American nationals in China, at least roughly equivalent to what they would receive in the United States. And Chinese nationals going to the United States have great benefits and freedoms and access to our system. And the Chinese government is aware of that, from opening businesses, getting their businesses licensed, forming corporations, enforcing contracts, you name it. They are relatively unimpeded. They're unencumbered. They're not hindered at all in getting and transacting and handling their affairs in the United States. And so, on paper, that is the way it's supposed to be here in China. And you say, well, there's a difference in practice. Well, in practice, the American system, generally speaking, absolutely does fulfill its promises along those lines. And so there's a feeling among Chinese leadership that they need to do the same thing as towards American nationals in China. So, be tight-lipped. Don't ever admit to this or that. Um, and remember, they're never going to sue you uh, for working illegally at a school because they don't have a cause of action. Okay. I mean, they really don't. How could they? Right? They don't have the right to hire you. So keep that in mind, and just remember that you're, yeah. So that's, hopefully you can logically derive what your legal slash political situation. I say legal political situation, not just legal situation. When you break your contract with a Chinese school, you decide to leave because politics is kind of mixed in with the law in China. But bear in mind that you do have some leverage, and they're not going to be throwing you in jail for no reason, etc. So stand on your rights, and period. Okay. But at the same time, don't think you can go complaining and remedy a situation by resorting to unless someone's committed a crime against you. I mean, a real crime like broke into your house or physically done something to you or stolen something from you. I mean, you know, committed a trespass, gone into your home and taken your wallet or something like that. If it's a civil case, you don't, there's not too much you can do. I mean, you can in certain situations, but certainly not. You don't have something you can do when you're on a business visa or a tourist visa working in China, right? You no longer have access to the courts or the obviously, right? But it's not that big a deal because it really isn't. Okay, just don't be intimidated or bullied.